Hello friend, and welcome back to part 2 of the fully supported bicycle tour of the Silver Coast of Portugal. Today we're going to cover days 4 and 5 and really ending up the tour. Last week we covered the first 3 days of this fully supported tour put on by Top Bike Tours of Porto. So for the next few minutes we're going to take a look at what happened on day 4 and 5. And if you will remember last week, we asked the question, is a fully supported bike tour for you? Well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, only you can decide. We had a great time, so let's go. So we ended off last week at the city of Mira, where we stayed at the beach hotel. And I've got to tell you, looking out the window, the balcony of our room was truly a magnificent sight. The beach actually went out for about a quarter of a mile till it reached the ocean. The very next morning we picked up our bicycles down in the basement and made ourselves ready for the day ahead. Our tour director Sergio was always there to help us, to ask questions, to make sure that we were fully prepared for what the day would bring. It wasn't long before we got out of that garage and we were on our way. After a few miles on a paved road, we were back into the woods. Here we went from mile after mile in an area that was hit by a forest fire at one time. And then before you do it, we were back in a little village. The terrain never changed, and our support vehicle was always there. We climbed and climbed, and we got to the top of this mountain that was right on the coast. It was truly a magnificent view, albeit it was very scary for some of us. As we rounded the corner, it reminded us of the Pacific Coast Highway in California. Not much of a shoulder, and when cars came by, you got pretty close to the edge.
Terrifying.
What, from going down the hill?
Yes, because the ocean is right there.
Right. Now we're going down to Figueira da Foz.
Yes.
We may reside this evening, I'm not sure.
Yes.
We'll have to find out from our tour director, Sergio. There's always time to stop for photo opportunities and group shots so that we could remember the great time we had during those days on the Silver Coast of Portugal. Back again, we were riding along the beautiful bike paths with a mosaic tile underneath our wheels. We finally got to our next treat of the day, and that was a bullfighting coliseum that had been in operation since 1895. Here we got a personalized tour of the bullfighting arena. And also the area where they would prepare the bulls in these little cubicles before they would face their matador. After that, it was back on the road again, through small village after small village. There was always something new around every bend. And the winding road here was leading up to our place for lunch, which was really quite a surprise. Since we are on a bicycle tour, it was very appropriate that we were able to stop at the Yee restaurant with its bicycle theme. We waited outside with the group for our tables to be ready, and then once inside we were treated to the decor, which included bicycle wheels on the ceiling. There was really bicycle motif everywhere. We enjoyed a very good lunch. Pizza and salad were excellent. So after lunch we cycled for another few hours, and then that was the end of day 4. So that day we went from Mira to Figueira da Foz. And another reasonable day of 30 miles, 48 kilometers, at an average rate of 9 miles an hour. At the completion of the day, we ended up at the Sweet Atlantic Hotel. And the very next morning, we collected our bicycles in the basement and we got out onto the trail, headed for our final stop, which was the City of Coimbra. After going through one more village, we reached the Monte Moro Velho Castle, which was built in the 10th century. To reach the castle was quite a hill, but we made it. We gathered ourselves together for a tour. Upon entering the castle walls, we were treated to magnificent gardens, beautiful structures, and a very old chapel. We spent about an hour there for many photo opportunities, and we were able to take in the history that was set before us. After our tour, we got back on our bicycles and we took the half-a-mile trip down the hill. After about 2 more hours of cycling, we took another break here at this little cafe where we enjoyed some beverages and some local pastries. Then as we got on our way, lo and behold, we were approached by killer crawfish. This crawfish was ready to take on a bicycle touring pro, standing his ground and protecting his territory. As the rain came down, I was able to video this crawfish coming out of the water, going into the marsh. They looked amazingly like Atlantic lobsters, however, they were only about 7 inches long. After this treat, we were back on the road again, and we came upon another bullfighting arena as we made our way down this gravel highway. There were certainly plenty of bridges to cross, going through marshes, going over rivers. Another highlight of the trip is after going down a dirt road through cornfields, we came upon a group of farmers that had picked the biggest peppers I think I had ever seen. They were packaging them and getting them ready to put on a truck to go to market. As we made our way through the area, we came upon these 2 ladies who looked very proud of what they were doing, and this older gentleman who seemed amused by the bicycle tourists that were passing him by. After this stop, our adventure continued. We went down this road for miles with corn growing on either side before we finally came out to a paved road. The next thing we saw, as Sergio, our tour guide, pointed out to us, is on the power line supports, there were actually stork nests. No, there were no babies up there. It was back on the trail through this beautiful forest. And as we made our way toward our final destination of Coimbra, we were treated to this nice bike path that ran along the river. Rounded the last bend, we parked our bicycles where they would be picked up and we would get on a bus and make our way back to Porto. So on the last day, we went from Figueira da Foz to Coimbra, and we did 35 miles with an average speed of 9 miles an hour. So that was the end of this 5-day adventure that we had. And so you have to ask yourself, is this something I'd like to do? Would I mind being in a group going 9 miles an hour for 5 days. Obviously, there are all kinds of bike tours. You could do a self-guided tour like this without a tour guide and without a group. You could just get a set of maps and ride with GPS or whatever and go on your own. Bring all your own luggage, fill your panniers, and see the countryside that way. However you choose to do your next trip, I'm sure you'll have a good time. Thank you for watching, and let's look forward to enjoying our next adventures.